This segment's being sponsored by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Join us in preserving and protecting Tennessee's wildlife.
One important tool that I always have with me in my turkey vest is a good pair of hand clippers. I'll use these to trim limbs off to help hide me, or even to trim limbs to make my path clear of where I think my shot's going to be. A good pair of hand clippers is an important tool to have with you in your turkey vest. You know, in life, we put a lot of things in our path on our view to God. And these are things that we put in the way ourselves. We're working hard, worrying about making a living, providing for our family. We worry about how our job's going to be. We put our hobbies in our path in front of God. Jesus tells us in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and then all these things will be added to you." Basically what he's saying is keep the path to God clear in your life. Make sure that there's nothing in the way, and all these things that we worry about, He'll provide for them if we keep our path clear. So my challenge for you this week is this: put a good pair of hand clippers in your turkey vest, because I promise you, you'll need them. Also, let's look at our path to God. There may be some limbs that we need to trim. Thanks for watching this week. We pray that you are blessed today. And always remember, keep shooting straight.
All right, guys, this next segment's being sponsored by our friends over at Taylor's Archery. Y'all can find them at 100 East Lauderdale Street in Tullahoma, Tennessee, or give owner Tracy Taylor a call at 931-563-7706 and let them take care of all your archery needs. Spend some time in their indoor range there. Tracy and his team can get you outfitted and out the door with everything you need. All right, welcome back to the studio. You guys can call in now if you'd like, 615-737-7767. And until then, we were talking to you guys about the stake beds and some things with that a while ago. But let's talk just a minute now about a spawning box.
Sure.
Describe to me what that is and where do y'all locate those in the lake, you know, what particular areas, and what are you looking for to put in a spawning box?
Sure. A spawning box is basically just a, you can build it at anything, but, you know, when we do them, we typically use just regular wood boards, and it's kind of like a raised garden bed almost, except instead of filling it with more dirt, you fill it with pea gravel. And, you know, a lot of our popular game fish species like bass, crappie, all your brim species, they're all spawning on pea gravel. You know, they're trying to fan out the silt out of the way. And so this is just a way to give them more areas to spawn, hopefully improve the population, because the fish can always stock the lake better than we can, no matter what. So, you know, if we provide them the right kind of habitat, you know, they're going to do the rest.
Is there a particular depth or particular area, you know, up and down the lake that you would put these boxes, or just anywhere in the back of coves, or how does that work?
Sure, they can go anywhere in the backs of coves. You know, with the Stewarts Creek project, we put some of those out there in some of the muddier areas in front of the fishing piers to hopefully attract fish for anglers to catch, and you know, provide the spawning area. But they can go anywhere, all over the lake, sand flats, backs of coves.
Well, we got a few callers here. Who do we have on one? Ronnie, how are you doing tonight? Ronnie, can you hear us? Ronnie?
Oh, doing great, enjoying the show. Yes, sir, you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I know some old tars been in there for years, you know. I got to thinking those things is made out of oil and water don't mix, you know.
That's right. I think that's what they started figuring out after a while.
That's right.
Yeah, and what I'm just wondering about the bollards, I know at Stones River we've got a landfill dump right beside the river, and I don't know, I ain't figured out what that good idea was, but how safe is the water? What kind of condition is it in? Since are you noticing that there's the water's polluted, you know, over polluted, or does it seem to be, you know, what is right to, you know, to have?
Right. Sure. Good question, Rodney. So you're talking about the East Fork that goes all the way up into the Murfreesboro landfill, I think. We do have, I think, a fish consumption advisory on part of the East Fork, and I can't remember off the top of my head how far that goes down towards Percy Priest, but you know, as far as I would certainly follow the fish consumption advisory, but I think that risk of pollution certainly lessens as you go down and you get into more water, and that you know, anything that's coming into the lake, you know, has a chance to settle out and not be as much of an effect to the fish.
Right, not as concentrated there.
That's right, not as concentrated.
All right. Well, we thank you for calling. Have a good night, Ronnie. That's a great question.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And I thought I had one on two. Okay. We had one on two and lost. Had a little bit of issues there tonight, but no, I mean, that's a great question. You want to make sure that, you know, whatever you're consuming is safe. But, you know, all in all, our waters are in pretty good shape. You know, you mentioned you work with Old Hickory, Cheatham, and Percy Priest. What do you cover the same lakes, basically, Philip, or you have kind of different areas, same areas?
Yeah, same areas.
Okay. Well, I mean, with those three, I mean, you have such a diverse, you know, difference in habitats there. But each of those areas, I would consider most any fish to be.
Well, you know, like milfoil, you know, how does that affect the lake that much? I mean, like, I know it cleans the water some, but what goes on with milfoil? How are we looking on that?
It's another good question. You know, we actually don't do a whole lot with vegetation, to be honest.
Right.
A lot of people think that we spray and kill the vegetation. We don't even have the equipment to do that. If anything, we would be wanting to promote the vegetation because of how good it is for the water quality, for the fishing, et cetera, and other species like ducks and everything else.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, as far as that goes, you know, we're supporters of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, anything that will produce more habitat for the fish to be able to spawn in
If you
particular.
ever took your trolling motor and hit a patch of milfoil, it just gets muddy. So because it filters the water and cleans the water and gets, you know, fish place to hide too.
That's
so.
right.
It does.
Good nursery ground for sure.
It does. Now we talked about, of course, the spawn and how important that is, but you know, we're coming up on that magic time of year right now when all this stuff's starting to happen, and we talk all the time about water temperatures and times of year, length of day, things like that. But what kind of kicks off this spawn, so to speak? What water temperatures are we looking for, and how long can we kind of expect that to last?
Sure. For our lakes that we cover, so you've got Priest, Old Hickory, and Cheatham. For the main game fish species, that 58, 60-degree water temperature is really when things start picking up. You can have the water temperature, you know, on a warm 70-degree day like we had today. If it's full sun, it can take it from 58, you know, to those low 60s and get those fish to turn on. As far as how long that lasts, you know, it'll last for your bass and crappie. Crappie are going to finish spawning before the bass. You know, just by a week or two. It's all roughly the same.
Yeah.
A little bit of overlap there, but it'll last, you know, up into the 70s. Which will go, you know, into early May some years, you know, when it's even a little cooler. So, and then after that, you've got your catfish coming on when it's in the 70s and 80s, and then brimmer all throughout the.
There's always something,
always
you know, right behind
right.
something else,
That's
you know,
right.
to get out there and get after. Got another call here. Dennis, how are you doing tonight?
Doing fine. How you doing?
Doing great. We appreciate you calling. How can we help you tonight?
Well, I was wanting to ask if they're having any luck about the Asian carp and the crappie down on Kentucky Lake.
Okay. Would you guys know, I mean, anything to kind of speak on that?
Yeah, that Kentucky Lake is not one of our areas that we cover. I know that as an agency, we're doing a lot and doing all that we can for, you know, to help out with the Asian carp issue. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, since it's Kentucky Lake, not one that I cover, how it's affecting the crappie over there exactly right now. But I do know that we're doing research studies with Tennessee Tech. We're incentivizing our commercial anglers to harvest those fish.
I started to say that these commercial guys have really stepped up and played a big role in this. And
I mean, we've got them in Old Hickory.
Very, very few.
Very few.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, we did find some this past summer. We found 2 that we electrofished, and we were actually targeting them for that. But before that, the only record was back in 2008. So I mean, it's a needle in a haystack for us.
That's the way we want it to stay.
That's exactly right. Don't let us
The needle in a haystack is good.
That's right.
That's good.
Absolutely.
We're getting some feedback. Yeah, thank you for calling tonight, Dennis. Well, guys, let's go on and get ready to do tonight's tip of the week. Tonight's tip of the week's being sponsored by Phoenix Custom Quality Rods. Y'all can find their full lineup at phoenixrods.com. Or here in the state of Tennessee, call Mr. Jim Brewer at 931-213-1455. All right, I got a tip for tonight is one that I hope that if you've been fishing the last week or two, you've thought about this. But guys, with being the 1st of March, we just came out the end of February. That means that your hunting and fishing license from this past season expired for everybody.
Yes.
So make sure that you get that renewed before you get back out on the water. You're getting ready for turkey season coming up. But one thing I want to add to the tip tonight, something I just did this year, and a buddy of mine's done it a couple of years, but I went ahead and signed up for auto renew now.
I did too.
So next year, when it comes time, it's just going to be renewed for me, and I'm not going to have to
And you
sweat
can
it.
also get a hard copy for $5.
You
like a
can,
credit
and that's
card.
what I do because it's so easy to just
And
slap my
you
wallet.
can't lose it, and it don't tear up as easy and stuff.
That's right.
So the hard copy is
That's
good
right.
deal.
Well, make sure you guys get re-upped and that you're ready to get back out on the water and do that auto renew, and next year you won't have to sweat it when it comes 1st of March. We're going to get ready to take another quick break, and we'll be back here in just a minute with some more Southern Woods and Waters.